My name is Rafael Picasso, President, SEIU 1021 School District Chapter. I'm here to support funding and keep funding of the teachers and the rest of the school district, and no more cuts to our schools.
And this is a rich city. It's a lot of billionaires. Where's the money?
Very rich city. We have development going up everywhere. Rent in this city and buying property in this city is up to millions of dollars, so there's got to be tax dollars coming in. So I don't understand how the district can say they're actually broke. It's a misconception that they tell the people all the time to get people on their side, to get the community on their side, but to see through it all, there's enough funding. If they can hire top-heavy employees in administrative roles, they can keep the teachers, the custodians, the student nutrition workers, and the clerks working and hiring more instead of laying off people.
How would that affect the students, the layoff of your members?
Layoffs and numbers, well, we get dirtier schools. We don't have the clerks who do the payroll and take care of the paperwork of the parents and so forth. And then we don't have as many teachers to teach our children. So it becomes a real problem. We lose a lot of education in that sense of our children not getting properly educated.
A lot of these kids are African American, Latino, poor kids. That's what's going on in the schools.
Those will be the most schools that are affected and are in the black and brown communities. And there's a lot of things going on in these communities that are already negative that we got to keep things positive, and education is the most important part of our students' lives.
Charmaine, I'm out here because the fact that they're doing budget cuts is unrealistic. We have worked our butt off to teach these kids the best way that we can, and once it comes to negotiation year, the thing that comes out is budget cuts. That's a slap in the face to all of the teachers and educators that have dedicated all of their time and energy and love into SFUSD every single day, 24/7. So I'm out here to not only fight for the rest of the teachers that work in their butt off, but fight for these kids. We are the people that's going to keep families in the city, so we need support.
You think African American or Latino children are going to be most affected by these budget cuts?
Absolutely, because African American, Latino, and teachers of color are the most vulnerable at this moment. So they are going to be the ones that really hurt from larger class sizes, from less staff, less special education resources. That is going to have a drastic effect on our students, and we need to protect that as well.
And San Francisco is a wealthy city. There are a lot of billionaires here.
Yes.
What do you think about the fact that they're attacking teachers when you have all these billionaires? What does it say about San Francisco, California?
You take advantage of the most vulnerable. That is a clear sign that there's a huge systematic issue. We have the most billionaires per capita, and the fact that you're going to cut from educators, we have to rethink about our priorities as a city, as a state, and really as a nation, because what precedent is this setting for the rest of the country?
And you have a Democratic governor, a Democratic legislature, a supermajority. They could pass taxes and depletion oil tax. Why haven't they done that? California's still 46th in funding for schools?
I honestly think because education to them is not an important thing. Public education has taken the backseat to a lot of issues, and they're moving more towards charter schools and private schools, and it's public education that's going to keep California on its feet. And so the fact that we're not focusing on that is an issue. So our priorities are all wrong in California, and that's, I think, what we're making apparent here.
And charter schools, I understand they want a charter school on Treasure Island. I mean, what's happening with these charter schools? I mean, they're approving charter schools when they're going to close public schools or cut public schools?
I'm not too sure about the charter schools on Treasure Island, but it's clear that they don't want the money to funnel into public education anymore. And so I need to do more research on exactly what that is, but we're all kind of seeing the system at play here.
Lucas Tejeda. Well, I'm out here. I'm a UESF member. Our schools are already criminally underfunded. The idea of taking more money away from them while you have money going back to big tech and big corporations is ridiculous, right? They have money to fund, pay for a bunch of consultants, should pay teachers, pay for upkeep of infrastructure. There's money for this somewhere. They need to put it into schools.
How long have you been teaching?
I'm in my 3rd year as an educator.
You like teaching?
I love it.
And what's going on? Because the city does have billionaires, more billionaires in San Francisco than most cities, yet they say they have to cut back in the schools. What is it?
Like everywhere in this country, we're more concerned with, growing business by giving tax cuts to the rich and big corporations than we are with funding infrastructure that helps the working people. So that's why schools are underfunded, muni and public transportation is underfunded. All of our public goods are underfunded just so, we can keep big business here. For what reason? Since we're not taxing them, I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Kathy O'Byrne. I work at Balboa High School, and I'm here today because they're planning to cut again in the schools, and we're tired of this. This is no way to fund education in America and in California, and so we're here. This is one of the reasons. Economic justice, and we're all here together for the press conference, and then we're going in to talk to the district or to the.
Why are they doing this? Why are they? I mean, there's a lot of wealth in San Francisco, a lot of billionaires here.
A lot of billionaires here. No, why are the district doing this? Ask me. I don't know. We're trying to figure that out because they didn't even tell the union they were doing this when they met with them the day before. That they sent this message out to all the workers, in an email. And yeah, we want to know. They're saying that less money from the state, but I didn't hear about any state cuts. And we say chop the top. We're tired of taking the brunt of it, and we need the workers we have. We don't need any more cuts. We don't have enough. We don't have enough.
What kind of work do you do?
Well, I'm a para-educator in special ed. I work in special ed with moderate, severe students, disabilities.
So what would happen to those students if you get cut? What would happen?
Well, it's just harder to work with them. You can't do that much. The students, if they cut any more, soon they'll have to get rid of the class, and join another class. I don't know. That's the question. We have a new teacher. We don't want to lose her. They're planning on cutting teachers, and they cut the newest teachers. So, it's a fight. And we always have to fight for everything.
Buenas tardes a todos. Gracias.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Gracias por apoyar a todos los maestros o apoyarnos.
Thank you for all supporting the educators.
Sabemos que la educación es importante para nuestros hijos.
We believe that education is important for our children.
Y es por eso que exigimos que sea más importante la educación y que no corten fondos.
That's why we say it's important to prioritize education and not cut funds.
Nosotros como padres trabajadores aportamos también para la educación de nuestros hijos.
And us, like working parents, also contribute to the education of our children.
Y es una injusticia a que corten estos fondos para que nuestros hijos sigan estudiando con excelencia.
And it's an injustice that these cuts will then impede our students from having an excellent education.
Entonces, vemos que el futuro también está en nuestros hijos.
And so we also see that the future is in our children.
Algunos serán presidentes.
Some will be presidents.
Por eso necesitamos la educación.
And that's why we need education.
Algunos de nuestros hijos serán abogados.
Some of our children will be lawyers.
Ejércitos.
Some will be in the military.
Y por eso se necesita la educación.
And that's why we need education.
Entonces, sigamos luchando para que no corten estos fondos.
So let's keep fighting so that we have no cuts.
Sabemos que esos fondos están y son para la educación de nuestros hijos.
We know that the funds are available and that they should be given to our kids for their education.
Entonces, es es importante que nuestros hijos reciban esas educaciones excelentes.
It's important that our students receive quality education.
My name is, you want me to look at the camera? My name is Lope Yap Jr. I'm the Vice President of George Washington High School Alumni Association. And there's a school board, Board of Education meeting here. There are a lot of demonstrators here who are protesting against the budget cuts. Why are you here today?
Well, I support the teachers. I support the idea of protecting the programs for the students. I'm also here to ask them to join the Alumni Association in our 6-point plan for the students to preserve, protect the murals. They can save $1 million if they don't want to pursue the things that they're under, whether it's the lawsuits, the CEQA laws, things like that. And to join us, because we want to do, sorry, it's really noisy. Want to do charitable things like scholarships, endowments, educational events, and also the idea of signage and orientation for first-time students or transfer students to understand the murals.
My name is Jay Ray. I'm out here for an SFUSD budget cut. I give it a 1-star review because it's not cool to cut me.
What kind of work do you do?
I work with students with special needs. I help them understand how to communicate with each other because I work with folks with nonverbal communication. So I help them with AAC devices or even a little like sign languages saying hi, nice to meet you. Thanks for tuning in.
And what happens if you get cut? What's going to happen to these kids?
So if folks get cut, there's a lot of folks that have behavioral needs. Like say there's certain folks, this is how it works. It's called behavioral function. Behavioral function is EATS. E is elopement, A is attention-seeking behavior, T is tangible, and S is sensory. So whatever people do, like adults or even students, whatever behavior they have, we as paraprofessionals or even behavioral therapists have to look at that behavior and try to analyze it to find why they do the things they do. And that's why we're there, to help either manipulate the behavior to fix it so they don't do the behaviors that they do. So if we don't have staff to help these safety behavior, to provide safety, then how could we provide curriculum to the students? You feel me?
Sure.
No, I'm not actually working at it.
Yeah, my name is Jan Jin, and I'm the president of the SFUSD Local 21, which represents all the technological workers, computer people, architects, budgets, and things like that. And we're here because we've been informed that there might be layoffs, and we're already less than 100 people. And what's been happening is that when people retire, they haven't been replacing those positions. So we got to make sure that cuts don't happen, because we're already working, pretty much, just a few people on each thing. So
this has a big budget. There are a lot of wealthy people in San Francisco. How is it that there's not enough for schoolwork?
Well, a lot of it has to do with, one of the things that we're going to be pushing for is the schools and communities, and which is trying to get some of the high-tech people like Twitter and Amazon to start paying property taxes that are in line with what everybody else has to pay in property tax. I think Jeff Bezos of Amazon pays less than 2% property tax, and he makes $2,500 per second. So and that's one of the reasons why we're trying to make sure we get enough money. I mean, San Francisco, California, we rate pretty low when it comes in terms of dollar per student.
I think it's 46th.
46th, yeah.
How could that be? I mean, you've got a Democratic legislator, Democratic governor. They have a supermajority in the legislature. They could pass a depletion oil tax.
I mean, we're still feeling the effects of Prop 13, which was passed in the late 70s. So
they could pass taxes now on the big wealthy in California. They have a supermajority.
Yeah.
Has the union gone to Governor Newsom and demanded that the legislature pass emergency legislation?
We're trying to. Unfortunately, I mean, tax is, even in this day and age, it's almost like a dirty word to a lot of people. Even though we need them and all that, we've got to find a way to get more money into the schools. We have people. We already have a somewhat dwindling student population with the number of people that are moving out.
Gentrification. You know, a lot of working class kids are forced.
Right, and so, but you know, we have to support them. There's still about 56,000 students that we have to support, and their parents, and all the administrators, and all that. This is
March 10th, so it's a school board meeting, that's one reason. They will not be voting on layoffs tonight, but they will be voting on March 10th, is what we expect. And the reason they're voting on not tonight and March 10th is that by law, layoff notices, the first layoff notices for certificated folks have to go out no later than March 15th. So we still have, go on sending them out, but that means we have a couple more weeks to organize, to contact school board members. We don't know that we have the majority of the school board members right now. We have to make clear to them that we expect them to vote no on layoffs. No on layoffs.
Hello, my name is Grace Dickinson. I work at Aptos Middle School. I'm a second-year classroom teacher. A member of this community. I just want to say that these proposed budget cuts are not only going to have real-life consequences for all schools, but especially our school, which you may have heard of recently. Our school has 3 counselors for 1,000 students, and we get written about in the press as not answering emails fast enough. Our admin, I think, generally feel unsupported by the district at times, and are trying their best in a hard situation and all being new to their jobs. And every teacher at my school is working 3 different jobs in one. I am a classroom teacher, I'm a UBC rep, and I'm like a head of technology department thing in my 2nd year. No one at my school, everyone at my school cannot survive on these budget cuts. We have probationary counselors and teachers who are working harder than anyone I've ever seen in my life. And our students deserve more, and our families deserve more. And in this time of crisis, we cannot go to our schools and say, here's less. We cannot settle for less. Every year, our schools have been funding our students with less money for every year. And our classroom teachers, our paras, our counselors, our clerks, our security guard, our nurses, and our administrators cannot continue to settle for less. And we need to show our students and our families that we are going to work together to find solutions and not compromise. And so I ask you on March 10th that you vote for no cuts and sending no layoffs. Thank you for your time.
I'm Megan Clues. I'm a behavior analyst with the school district, and part of my job is going to schools. I go to a lot of schools, and I'm there to try to help them figure out how to support students who need more support. And that is an impossible task because everybody that I work with at every school I've ever gone to is already giving 110%. If we plan to interrupt the predictability of inequitable outcomes for our students, laying the burden of cuts and layoffs on our schools is not a solution. Schools who have the power of fundraising via their connections will pad the fall as they should. Schools without such connections, like schools that I've been out in the southeast side, don't have matching grants for their PTAs. They're gonna get left behind. So for those kids that are doing okay, or at schools with lots of funding, they're likely to continue to do okay. For kids who are struggling at this moment, who need more, struggling at reading, have social emotional needs, those are the kids that are gonna suffer if we decide to put the burden of these budget problems on our school sites. It's going to be an uphill battle for every child who has more than just a basic need in our school. Budget cuts are hard on everybody, but they perpetuate the cycle of inequity we're here to stop. That's right. We cannot afford to put our children through that. I urge you, I demand that you vote no on any budget cuts that affect our schools. Vote no on layoffs. We owe it to our kids to stop the cycle of inequity, and we cannot do anything less than that. Thank you.
Hi, Michelle Cernuto, Lowell High School. I'm also a parent of a Balboa. She's a junior. I'm also teaching 4 sections of AP Computer Science at Lowell. Hello, former student. And I have some concerns that are budget related and also personal. One is that I currently have a colleague in our shared office who has very serious cancer. And she is afraid to take off work because she is out of sick days from being treated a few times. In our contract, we have 100 days of extended leave that she would have to pay for a sub, and she can't. And so I am asking you to consider for bargaining this year that we do not continue this policy of asking teachers to pay for subs out of their salary. This is not a cost increase either, because sorry, I don't know not to do that to the mic, but anyway, we currently have a sick bank that we UESF members contribute to. I tried to go to the Labor Relations Office today and say, can I give her 5 of my sick days that I've accrued? And they said no, she would have to have 100 of her own days used first. This is an old policy, it's from the 70s. San Diego has a contract that shows how to undo that, and it's not a significant cost increase. It might be a few administrative hours. If you're interested in seeing a contract, I'm happy to provide it for you. The other thing is I love teaching this subject. I want our students from our city to be able to do computer science as a profession so that they can stay in the city. Yes. We currently have a company, I don't want to talk too long, but we have a company called Twitter that's enabling a criminal president. Yeah, sorry, I know, but I know how to do that anyway. It's a long day. So we currently have a criminal president being enabled by a company that gets a tax break in our city. I'm not saying that's anyone's fault, but why do we allow that?
Yes.
47 students in section, 47. If we have any more cuts, where do they go?
Yes.
Buenas tardes. Sounds good? Buenas tardes a todos. Buenas noches. My name is Jael Castro. I'm a 4th grade teacher at BBHM. And it's a shame that I'm here. It's a shame that we live in the richest city and the richest country in the world. And we have poverty, we have homelessness, we have schools are underfunded, and yet our schools still find a way to support our families. My school at one point had 60 families without housing. The district did nothing, the city did nothing. We had to pull in more people. We had to come up with the idea of bringing in a shelter to our school and giving them a house, a place to live, a place to sleep at for our children so they can learn at school. That's a shock. That shouldn't be coming from us. That should be coming from you all, the people who don't have to answer to phone calls, answer to emails, teach 5 lessons in a day, talk to parents. That shouldn't be coming from us. We don't have the time for that. And right now, if you cut $26 million from our schools, you're saying that you don't support educators who are on the front line of the things that our politicians should be on the front line. We're on the front line of Black Lives Matter. We're on the front line of poverty. We're on the front line of homelessness. We're on the front line of making sure the rich get to pay their fair taxes. What are you doing? And so on March 10th, I demand and I urge you to vote no on cuts, no on layoffs, and instead vote to make sure our students are learning. It's not cool. It's not cool. It's not fair. And it's just very simple. Sometimes we think politics and budgets and all this is very complicated, but really we're just asking for a basic right. That our schools are funded and our schools earn their education. Thank you.
My name is Susan Chan. I'm the lead purchaser and the vice president of the Local 21 SFUSD chapter. As you know, Local 21 represent 10,000 members in the Bay Area, 5,000 in the city, and about 100 SFUSD employees, most of them who work in the Department of Technology. In the district, we are the purchasers, occupational therapists, statisticians, architects, building inspector, business analysts, and IT workers. We work with the teachers and staff, handle the purchase of goods and services, fix the computers and the schools, and make sure that the networks are functioning. Our goal today is to support the teacher in solidarity. We want to let the board know that we need more, no less, and that the board must promise no layoff, no cuts. We are not asking for any special favor, just a fair living wage in this beautiful city we call home. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is David Lanham. I'm with Local 21 also, and I'm in the IT department. I'm not good at scripted stuff, but I did want to say that when viewing layoffs and budget cuts, the word that comes to my mind is sacrifice. But I was wondering, are we really taking a good look at all the sacrifice that's already been made? The sacrifices that are made on a daily basis, not only by your educators, but your support staff. Educators reaching in their pocket and their purses to supplement what they need on a daily basis. Some of the support staff who have risen with you and supported you through the early days when we were punching holes, establishing your first internet connection, crawling in your ceilings, where there's rat feces and all kinds of other exposure. Those type of sacrifices. Many of you will rise and move on to your next political appointment or career advance. And I just wanted to remind you that it's a corner phrase, like at the African American Honor Roll, whose shoulders you stand on. It's our shoulders you stand on. When you view budget cuts and layoffs, certainly that's not a way to say thank you.
Hi, my name is Michelle Raitt. I am a school district nurse at Visitation Valley Middle School. I'm also the parent of a child at Philip and Sala Burton and another child at Denman. So we are all on the south side or in the southeast. Our students and our families and our staff deserve a lot. We deserve fully funded wellness centers, including full-time nurses in these wellness centers. We deserve social workers to continue to be funded, therapists and counselors. And yet we're in a district that wants to make $26 million in cuts, taking away resources that are necessary from our students and from our families. Schools in the south and on the southeast side are going to be disproportionately affected by cuts and by layoffs. As I said, I'm a school district nurse. Like most other middle school nurses, the district only funds my time 50% of the time at my school site. The burden of the rest of my time to help my school site falls directly on my school site. I work with students from many backgrounds, from many different countries. 40% of the kids at my school were born in a country not the United States. About 27% of those students in my school listed English as their home language. Most of my students have trouble with housing situations, with having actual access to food. They're exposed to violence and other traumas on a daily basis. In our wellness center, we strive to help our students get the resources that they absolutely deserve to have. They're in desperate need of health care and access to that care, and the place that they look for support for that care is our wellness center. I spend several hours a week working with families and local clinics, helping to navigate the system, help work our kids through Medi-Cal, help create appointments, and help those families make and keep those appointments for dental, for healthcare, for vision. In these times of crisis, we need to show our kids that we can step up together as a community, listen to each other, and keep all of our jobs and the resources our kids need. Thank you.
Buenas noches. Mi nombre es Ángel Rafael Vázquez. My name is Ángel Rafael Vázquez and I come from San Juan, Puerto Rico. I've been living in San Francisco for 11 years. And let me tell you, I am an educated person. I come from the University of Puerto Rico. I finished my degree in education there. I taught in a country that was falling apart economically. We did not have the resources. We've had generations of students who have been underserved. When I moved to San Francisco and I made a decision to join San Francisco Unified School District, I thought I was stepping beyond that paradigm. I felt like I was leaving all that lacking and all that need behind. Need that has really created really big problems for our country, as everyone that reads the news knows. I think it's very, very shameful that we are living in the richest city in this country and we are begging for money. And that we're saying that we're going to cut it from teachers. $26 million. That email, by the way, Superintendent, was received on a Wednesday. That was a very hard day at work. It was not very effective communication, my friend. Let me tell you, you do not do that at the middle of our week. And I also stand with you on the message that we need to find a way to fund all of this. And I agree that we are all having a collective problem, but I do not like the way that you took sides and separated us in this common problem, and we're all trying to do the same thing. So I urge everybody to use all of this energy to tax the fuck out of the rich so that we can get the funds that we need to in our education. Thank you.
My name is Ivan Amador. I'm working with IT. I've been working for the school districts for a while now. I started as a para in 1990. 1997, I did a transition to IT since computers are my background. Having that, I know what the teachers go through. I know that they have to spend part of their money just to buy supplies. Working with IT, I go to all the schools and I see that all the challenges they face. I think that we're asking for your support on saying no. I'm with Local 21. I'm asking you not to put yourself on their shoes. I know that there's a big rift between what they do, what you guys do, and we elected many of you so you can represent us. We asking you to not only say no to cuts and funding, we also take the next step and go beyond that and see that we don't have to go through all this.
Hi, my name is Michelle Camp, and I'm a 30-year employee with San Francisco Unified School District. I also attended school in San Francisco. I'm a native, and I work at James Denman Middle School, and I went there. My whole family went there. And, you know, I come from a whole different era, but what I see is worse than when I was coming up. It's really worse. Don't nobody care. People forget where they come from, and when you forget, you repeat. You repeat it. And I'm a T10 security person, but I do a lot of other things. I talk to the kids every day. I talk to the teachers. I talk to a lot of people. Superintendent Matthews, I remember you shared about your mother being a para in the classroom. I asked somebody one day, I said, Well, he ought to know we don't get unemployment. Why don't they stop sending that letter out? And some of the rules and things, these are antiquated rules. They're old. They shouldn't even be on the books like Michelle talked about the money, the bank. That's ridiculous. You can't tell me you care. This is the 21st century. Those rules need to go. And for you to care, you would work on things like that. You would support your schools. When you support your schools, you support the children. The students have a lot of problems. I mean, serious problems. They're not getting the help they need at home. It's generational. And if you do these cutbacks, it's going to affect everybody, and especially the families and the students and the families. And you can't tell me you care, because you don't. You really don't. I don't believe you guys care. No. You can't. So I'm asking you to do not do any cutbacks. It's ridiculous, and that's basically what I got to say. Have a heart, and don't forget where you came from.
Hi, my name is Jan Jin. I'm the president of Local 21, but I'm not here to speak about myself. I'm here to speak for Stanley Wong, a colleague of mine who was supposed to be speaking here today, but he can't as he's at his other job. But I'll read what he was about to say. It's basically, hi, my name is Stanley Wong, and I work at the help desk to support teachers and other district staff with their technical questions. I not only work full-time here in the district, but I also have a part-time job at night. I live outside of San Francisco, and I stay overnight. I'm only able to see my family on the weekends. I am here to speak to you because I'm not sure how I could survive with less. The work I do is important support work, and the district cannot run without it. Nobody should be facing the fear of losing their jobs when so many of us are already barely scraping by. Please stand by us and promise us no more layoffs and no cuts. Thank you for your time.
Hello, good evening, and thank you for having us. My name is Kai King. I am a math teacher at Wallenberg. I'm losing my voice because I care about this. And it's hard as a teacher. I mean, it's sort of like it's your magic wand, your voice in the classroom. But I take that for myself because I feel like I need to be here to fight for students. What I know is that there are students in my class who won't get what they need. I can't teach them math unless they have what some of the supports that we're talking about cutting. So I have students who regularly visit the nurse. I have students that get psychiatric care. These students are the students that we say we're supposed to support. Like I'm reading the mission statement here. This is SFUSD mission statement. Every day we provide each and every student the quality instruction and equitable support required to thrive in the 21st century.
Where's the equity?
We're talking about cutting the equitable support. Now, I know we're on the same team. This is a progressive city, and I know that you feel what we have in our hearts. We don't really have a choice, though. When we sign up, we got to be there. We have to be on every single day. I have 2 kids. They're at Harvey Milk. My wife is at Everett Middle School. We're 100% dedicated to these children. We know that there's money there. This is the richest, we talk about, this is the richest city in the history of the world. Billionaires everywhere. We have to fund education. These students are the next generation. They're the ones that prop us up when we're old and we're feeble, so we got to take care of them. Thank you very much.
My name is Ben Goodnick. I'm a second-year teacher at Bessie Carmichael Elementary School. I'm not here tonight to talk for me. I'm here because there's a little girl I know. She has nowhere to live. My partner steals her snacks from her job so that she has some extra food. She's not the only one. There are dozens of children just at my school with nowhere to live. There are 2,500 kids in our school district that have been homeless or at risk of being homeless. I see people in the streets that I know. It is immoral to take from these children. We like to use words like equity a lot in SFUSD, but equity is not a word, it is actions. And if those actions are to take from the people with the least, that is not equity. My student has refugees from a genocide. And you're gonna tell me those kids don't have psychiatrists, that our school counselor needs to see 500 children who need help. You can't say equity without making it something you are doing. If you're not gonna do it, don't say it. That's right. We have 75 billionaires in San Francisco.
Yes.
Let's take their money.
Yes.
It's not just you. The city government needs to do something about this.
Yes.
We can no longer be a playground for the rich when our children are literally starving. Thank you.
My name is Michelle Cuddy. I'm from Willie Brown. I was going to start off talking about like the experience of a student, right? Because for me, this perspective of a student is really important, right? So I think about walking through the school door and knowing the support that you're going to get. Right? If you know as a student that if you don't feel good, there's a school nurse that can help you. I have a handful of kids in my school who have type 1 diabetes. Our school nurse is imperative to not their health, but just them living. Right? If I'm a struggling student who has an IEP and I'm in a classroom and that teacher needs that extra support, that para being there all the way to 8th period is imperative and indicative to me being successful in math class, right? If I'm trying to figure out the best high school for myself, I should be able as an 8th grader to talk to my school counselor and we have a real conversation where she tells me the choices and the schools and the pathways and the programs that are helpful for me, right? If I'm able to walk in and see the security guard and they're able to help me, embrace me and calm me down when I'm having a bad day, that is important to me as a student. So as a teacher, I'm all about us getting money and the support and the services, but taking care of me indirectly takes care of my children. Yes. Like, think about it. When your mama is happy and your mama is taking care of it, babies can get things done. A mama that is stressed can't take care of our children. And we know this is true. We know all of the health, when teachers are stressed out and you're living in a flight or fright all the time, how are you able to come to work? How are you gonna tell me in March that I might lose my job and then ask me to come every day and do my best self? That's stressful. And so, and I know my time is up. I'm gonna hurry up. I feel like I'm on the Academy Awards. The music's gonna play, but I just wanna let you guys know I understand that we don't have money, but I need you guys to walk in solidarity with us and ask for the people to pay their dues. The people who got money, run me my money and help us out.
My name is Angel. I'm a high school senior at Burden High School, and one thing I really want to say is that just like it's hard, honestly. Looking at just this entire issue, it's like everywhere. News, like articles, it's like everywhere, and it's not something you could really ignore. I talk to like staff, I hang out with teachers in my school, I talk to other students, and it's like, it's hard to see the fear that they have. Like, it's, I don't know how to say it, but it's just like, these budget cuts, our school relies on the budget, right? So it's like, what happens to our wellness centers when the budget's gone? I see teachers who use the wellness centers. I see students. I use the wellness centers at my school. It's like, what happens when we don't have the funding for that support? Like I said, I'm a senior, so it's like, why do I need this? I really don't need this because it's like, I'm going to be gone, right? But it's everyone else who needs it. Everyone else needs the support. Another thing, like I was
talking to other teachers earlier, right? And they have to buy their own supplies. It's hard to see. I mean, it's hard to like see and hear that teachers don't even have funding to like renew supplies, or they don't have money for their own supplies. And it's like everything that they buy comes out of their own pocket, and it's just like, it's just sad. And last thing I gotta say, I feel bad for you guys, honestly, because it's just like, it's hard to say that it's hard to see that we have to make the decision for you. We don't understand why there should be budget cuts or why that's an issue. That's all I gotta say.
Hello, members of the school board, and a huge shout out to all my fellow union members for being here today. Before I begin, I want to also acknowledge that many of the paraprofessionals that I work with can't be here today. Every para that I went to and saw at a school site today works a second job that prevented them from attending tonight. They work closely with each and every one of my kids, and they deserve to have the time to stand here and get their voices heard, but unfortunately our systems work against them being able to do this. My name is Rebecca Fedorko, and I'm a part-time special education resource teacher at Junipero Serra Elementary School. Before this, I was a full-time special education resource teacher at Sutro Elementary School, but unfortunately in October, decisions were made that I was not consulted about, that my site and those students did not deserve a full-time special education teacher. I want to speak about the potential cuts to our school budgets, to our site budgets. These cuts are being framed as non-classroom staff, as non-essential personnel, but my job depends on these members, on these educators. They are essential to me. When we implement services, we speak of tiers of a pyramid. Our SPED services being tier 3, and our literacy coaches, our social workers, our quote-unquote non-essential personnel are the second tier. If you make a choice to cut these services, to make school sites decide between a social worker and a literacy coach, what a fun little Hunger game there, between recess supervision and extra classroom support, you will decimate special education services in this district. You will make our tiers, our pyramid of services fall apart. You have a choice to make San Francisco an example of a progressive city that funds its students and that gives them what they deserve and what they need. Or you can vote to make this district an example of what not to do. I implore you to choose what is right, what is just, and what is best for our students. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Rafael Picasso. I'm a 37-year employee, also a prior student of the school district. I've been around a long time, let's say that. I'm also the president of SEIU 1021 School District Chapter. And over the years, one thing that a lot of my bosses in the past have told me is that we provide a service. And our clients are the young students that I see up here talking today, which makes me feel proud that they are up here and got the guts to actually speak up for themselves, and not just themselves, but their teachers, which makes me feel proud to say, you teachers are amazing, and you deserve the best, and I hope you guys do get the best. But on other hands, you also have custodians, you have clerks, you have student nutrition, you have warehouse workers who all provide a service to our students. And you know what? We can't provide that service if we don't have a staff. Right now, all our custodians, there's used to be 700. When I first started back in '83, we're down to 300. What are you going to cut? We used to have 3, 4 clerks in an elementary school. Now we got 1. Where are you going to cut? The 1 clerk? You know, warehouse workers, they service 150 sites. And there's only about a handful of them. Where do you cut? I work in the environmental health department. I deal with all the asbestos, lead, hazardous materials in the school district. We started with 15 people in 1986. You know how many we got today? Me. 2 of them are retiring in June. Where do you cut? How do I provide a service to protect this staff, the students of the school district, with 1 man serving the school district? Where do you cut? How do I provide a service? I can't. But please, think about all the cuts that you're going to probably make. Think hard. Find the funding. It's there. I know it's there. We've been told before there was no funding. Magically, funding showed up. I know there's funding, or it can be got one way or the other. Please do not cut the schools.
Good evening. My name is Linda Perez, and I'm a 26-year veteran kindergarten teacher. And I can't believe I'm here talking about this same thing. We're repeating the mistakes of the past.
Yes.
That's exactly what we're doing. I feel like I'm living in a bumper sticker, you know, the one that says it will be a good day when schools get all the money they need and the Pentagon has to hold a bake sale. We're holding the bake sales. We're writing the grants. There's nothing new in my classroom that I haven't written a grant for to get in my classroom. We're holding the bake sales. You, the district, the board needs to hold their feet to the fire. They need to find the money. If the money's there, it needs to be in the schools. And if it's not there, get it. Yeah. We need the money in our schools. We cannot educate our children in this bright, beautiful city. Our children are the inheritors of this city, and they need a top-notch education to get it, and they will not get it with these cuts. Thank you.
My name's Margaret Harris, and I've been a social worker in SFUSD for 23 years. We live in San Francisco, and our sons have grown up in SFUSD schools. In recent years, I've seen dedicated colleagues leave the profession and had my own children's teachers leave mid-year because they can't make ends meet here. I currently spend a lot of my time working with staff to troubleshoot situations that feel impossible. Teachers, as you've been hearing, are crying out for help on how to support students and families who come to school stressed because of immigration pressures, community violence, homelessness, and other accumulating pressures. They work hard to support their students through this stress while balancing their own pressure of not knowing if they will have a job next year, or if they can even afford to stay in the profession. Yet they still spend their own money on supplies and work way past their scheduled hours because of their commitment to the kids, our kids. I've been pink slipped before, and something that strikes me profoundly is how at times like these, a false narrative gets created that these type of layoffs are sad but inevitable. That while wanting to have great schools would be nice, as our vision says, we simply can't afford to pay for them. At the same time, we're living in the most expensive city in the country with the highest density of billionaires in the world. And yet we're being told that somehow we can't afford to provide a high-quality education that our children deserve. This is a travesty and an outrage. Educating young people is a challenging, thrilling, and essential investment in the future of our city. Oh no, and our society. I invite all of you to stand with us. This shouldn't be an us versus them. We are all in this together, administrators, teachers, staff, support staff, janitors, everybody, so that we can say no to the cuts and no to the layoffs and find money from the richest people in this city so that the rest of us can survive.
My name is Michelle Parker. I'm a single parent of 2 SFUSD students and 1 graduate. I'm also here tonight as the VP of Legislation for the District PTA. I'm here to stand with our teachers who are the T in our PTA and for our students. And we've heard a lot of powerful stories from our educators and students today. We cannot afford to not invest in our students, and we do that by protecting and strengthening the relationship between them and their teachers, and by making sure that the teachers who are most likely to have the students who are most likely to have teachers to receive pink slips are students who research and experience says will suffer the most from those layoffs. Don't lose those relationships. We cannot afford to reduce hours of our paraeducators who already work the kinds of hours without guaranteed pay 12 months of the year that cause them to have to work multiple jobs to stay in this city. We cannot afford to remove supports that make it possible for our kids to be their best selves. Our counselors, reading specialists, nurses, resource specialists, and many others. We cannot afford to make cuts in our classrooms, and we need to keep any cuts as far away from those classrooms as possible. And I know we're in a really bad budget situation, so We also have to demand more funds from our city's $12 billion budget to support our schools, because the children we serve in our schools are all our children. We need to fight together to pass Schools and Communities First this November so that corporations pay their fair share and our students receive the funds that they deserve. We need to demand that our state legislature and governor add $1 billion, as the LAO recommended yesterday, to pay down pension costs so that our district has more money to support our schools in the way we deem best. We need to work hard to elect a president who will triple or quadruple funds going to Title I, those students who need more, not less, access to opportunity. And we need to make sure that our legislature passes a bill that Assemblymember Marzouchi will propose that will change the targets for education spending and put California in the top 10 states so that San Francisco can pay our educators what they deserve to be paid and will benefit our students. This is a time to stand together as parents, educators, school board members, and staff to invest in our children.
My name is Charmaine Shuford. I work at Downtown High School, an alternative school, which, you know, people don't really know about because people don't really come see us. I haven't seen any one of you in my school building this year. I haven't seen you. You haven't come to my classroom. Thank you. But I'm a little confused why I even have to be up here when I should be planning and studying for the RICA that I'm not getting support in studying for from the district, even though you all were desperately asking for teachers at one point, right? I'm confused why we have to ask you to fight for us. Why are we asking you? Why? That means you all aren't doing your job. You all are supposed to be fighting tooth and nail for us, and you're not. If you send out an email, you already gave up. I don't need this. If you send out an email, you gave up on us. That's right. Because you're not willing to push that. If you were willing to push it, we would have never gotten an email, would we? That's right. That means y'all not doing your job. You have not considered every alternative there is. That's right. But instead, we're up here when we should be planning, getting sleep, eating, something that we don't do all the time because we're trying to take care of our babies. The thing is, we're seeing the capability of y'all. I'm going to be real. Some of us need to be in those seats because we will fight harder than y'all. And I know we will. Because, first of all, I'm from D.C. if you can't understand my accent, right? Right. And in D.C., we don't ask, we demand. And when we want something, we sit at that table until we get it. Now, I don't know if that's a policy that you all have, but I don't feel like it is. So maybe y'all, we need more people in leadership like us that's going to sit here and fight until the end. Because right now, y'all not doing y'all job for us. So we see. We're not asking you, we're telling you to do your job. And if you can, you gotta step down. That's right.
Good evening. I'm Darcy Chan Blackburn, first grade elementary school teacher at Sheridan. I just have to say, Susan mentioned this evening, this is the 6th anniversary of Safe and Supportive Schools, which is what you put forward for our students. We are saddled with the task at our schools, not just the classroom teachers, but everyone at the site, paraprofessionals, nurses, when we have them, the days that we do, the social workers, everyone works to make sure every child comes to our school feeling safe. The goal of it also was to keep students from being suspended. If you're going to do that, you need to provide us with the training. So therefore, we needed teachers on special assignment, teachers who would provide us with the training so that we could have alternatives for addressing consequences for our students. Because yes, they need consequences, they need boundaries, but we need to know the ways to approach them and the ways for our students to feel that their needs are met. And so, I'm just putting it out there. The teachers, I know we need to have a certain amount of teachers and to keep our class sizes and to keep our coverage. But it's not just the teachers that do the work. Paraprofessionals are there to help the child who has a special need, who cannot get it from within the classroom context. They need someone to help modify the curriculum, someone to restate something for them. The school nurse needs to be there to address the students who need glasses, the students who need asthma, who need medications. They're there, they're training us with our health services. Teachers on special assignment, again, like I said, I mentioned, provide us, all of our educators, with the supports we need, the training we need to make the schools safe and supportive. It's been 6 years. Have we all had training on how to cope with our students who are dealing with trauma? No. Have we all had training on restorative practices? No. And you're talking about cutbacks when we actually need more. We need more PD, we need more support services. We can't just do it on our own with what we have.
Good evening. My name is Alita Fisher. I'm the past chair of the Community Advisory Committee for Special Education and a parent of 4 children who have been in SFUSD, one who's a graduate. I'm actually here to talk about my day job tonight, which is I'm a special education advocate. So I sit in a whole bunch of IEP meetings. And one in particular hit me really hard in the gut a couple months ago. We sat through a meeting at a school where a kid needs a whole lot of help. And this is his second school. He had a whole lot of trust and behavior issues at school number 1. And now at school number 2, we've got a team that's trying really hard to put a whole lot of support and services in place for him. I walked out of the IEP meeting with the family after what I thought was a great amount of progress. And I left something in the room, so I came back. And the teacher and her assistant principal were sitting there, and the assistant principal had her arm around the teacher because the teacher was in tears. And she flat out told me, I want to do everything you want us to do in this IEP. I really do. I know we need to. I don't know how. We don't have the resources at the school to make it happen. So we promised here in this legally binding document, but how the heck are we going to do it? We're already to the bones at our school, and we're adding more. And in other meetings, we talk about the dyslexia guidelines and how all of a sudden we have to put in more specialized academic instruction to teach kids structured literacy by evidence-based programs. And by God, we're kludging it together, and we're doing the best we can. But we need more. That's what everyone's screaming for. And the Policy Institute, Linda Darling's Policy Institute, I forget the name of it, sorry. There's a study about teacher retention and teacher training. And they found that it cost in an urban district like San Francisco $20,000 to train new teachers. That's above and beyond the cost of all the benefits and the cost of the salary and everything. $20,000 in appropriate training. If we're losing all of our teachers and we have to hire new teachers and then pay an additional $20,000 beyond, we're just ending up increasing cost after cost after cost. We've got to support the teachers we have here now. Thank you.
Talk about it.
Hi. I'm a paraeducator with over 10 years in our district supporting students with complex needs in an inclusive elementary school. San Francisco Unified is not meeting the needs of our students with disabilities. Our schools are understaffed. We do not have enough teachers. We do not have enough paraeducators. In many schools in our district, students with disabilities are not getting their contractually mandated teacher instructional minutes, nor are they getting their para support minutes. We are out of compliance, and we are out of compliance of a legal contract. My site was offered access to a non-SFUSD agency for the unmet SPED services our students due to staffing shortages. Our principal turned it down because it was wrong. Not all schools are being offered this. Admins at other sites are telling teachers, don't worry about giving students their IEP minutes. We'll just, we're trying to maintain. This is happening across the district. This is illegal. Our staff should not be put in these awkward situations. Our staff and sites need to be better funded to support our students. all the way around, and with our students' supportive schools, and also in terms of our graduate profile. Thank you.
Yes, I'll step back while you read more names.
Okay, Christopher Christensen.
Hi, my name is Brandy Bowen. I'm an organizer at Coleman Advocacy. Yeah, I'm just here because at Coleman we've had a long history with this district. We've watched you all sign very pretty resolutions about keeping our schools safe, keeping them supportive. We've seen this district brag about being restorative and being responsive. But what's funny is that the people who are implementing that vision are all these people in this room right now. It's our students, our families, and our teachers. And it's time that you all help them because they can't do it alone. And they've been asking for supports for so long. And the time when we should be escalating their supports, we're saying that we need to cut back and cut down on them. And so I think that we are at a moment right now where we know that the money is here, it's in this district, and it's damn sure in this city. And we need to be pushing for that, and we need to make sure that our students are feeling safe and that they are feeling supported, because a lot of the kids in our organization come into our building after school buckling down in pain because they feel like they're not getting the support that they need. And that's not on school communities totally, that's on y'all, that's on this city, and that's a systemic problem that needs to be addressed here. Yes.
Hi, I am Evan De La Paz, and I am a student of Guadalupe Elementary School, and I want to say that it is very important for the staff members and everybody to stay because there are a lot of students who do need it. If they don't, it's going to be hard for them, they're going to struggle, so I think it is very important for the staff to stay. Thank you.
My name is Cheyenne Tumanuval, and I believe that each teacher should be, I feel like this is the richest city, and where should the money going? And I feel like each teacher deserves equal pay. Fight back! Fight back!